So we didn't get very far at all last time. I think we got through the first 5 verses. Looks about right. So I'm going to back up and hit it running. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. The earth was without form and void, and darkness was over the face of the deep. And the Spirit of God was hovering over the face of the waters. And God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. And God saw that the light was good, and God separated the light from the darkness. God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And there was evening and morning the first day. Evening and morning. Day. Verse 6, And God said, "Let there be an expanse in the midst of the waters, and let it separate the waters from the waters." And God made the expanse, and separated the waters that were under the expanse from the waters that were above the expanse, and it was so. And God called the expanse heaven. And there was evening, and there was morning, the second day. So the expanse, or King James calls it the firmament, I've heard it described as airspace. It's translated as heaven, and it's translated as heaven 3 different ways. So taken in context, I believe that it's just the sky where the birds are going to go when he ends up creating them. The same word is translated heaven, sky where the birds live, heaven, space where the moon lives, and then heaven is heaven where God lives. So here, I believe since he is creating earth right now and forming earth, that's what it means. It just means the sky. With the sky, he separated the waters that were under the sky and the waters that were over the sky with this new expanse that he made. So God said, "Let the waters under the heavens be gathered together into one place, and let dry land appear." And it was so. God called the dry land earth, and the waters that were gathered together he called seas. And God saw that it was good. The waters under the heaven gathered together in one place and dry land appear. I believe that it could have been, one land mass, the Pangea that we learn about. Before the flood, it's really impossible for us to know what the earth looked like. So that's just how I take it, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. The interesting thing to me here is that the word is seas. It's plural. So the waters that were gathered together he called seas. The ancient world only knew of one sea. So the Bible is pointing to a greater knowledge than we know that the ancient world had. I just think that's interesting. Verse 11, God said, "Let the earth sprout vegetation, plants yielding seed, and fruit trees bearing fruit, in which is their seed, according to its kind on the earth." And it was so. The earth brought forth vegetation, plants yielding seed according to their own kinds, and trees bearing fruit, in which is their seed, each according to its kind. And God saw that it was good. And there was evening, and there was morning, the third day. So there on the third day, God had the vegetation come forth from the earth. He made something. This isn't the same bara creation that I spoke of last week where he created from nothing. He's fashioning things. He made the earth in its, primitive form, and now he's fashioning things from it. Vegetation and plants yielding seed after its kind. If you plant a wheat berry, wheat grows. If you plant a corn kernel, corn grows. I would be so frustrated, that garden you see behind me, if I planted some peas and kiwi grew. Kiwi is awful. I would hate that, and that doesn't happen. We know that doesn't happen. There are rules that sowing and reaping follow. You reap the same kind that you sow. Like I said, I'm not going to sow an apple and get an awful, disgusting kiwi. I am not going to get something different than the kind that I sow. I am going to get more than I sow. I heard it said that if you took one corn kernel and planted it, and then from that shock of corn, you took every ear and the kernels off of them and planted them, that within 6 years, 6 growing seasons, you would cover the earth with corn. You always reap more than you sow, and you always wait. There is always time between sowing and reaping. So those are some rules there, just some free information. So that was the third day. And notice God didn't make the birds and the bees and the pollinators until 2 days from now. So these can't be ages, these can't be thousands of years, they can't be long periods of time. He made this system functioning. So that being said, were there coral reefs with the appearance of thousands of years? Yes. Were there trees that if you cut them down and counted the rings, would they be more than just a day old? Yes. Later, when he creates man, when Adam is created from the ground, he's created a man. Nobody seems to have a problem with the fact that he looks like a man but is only a day old. He didn't have baby teeth. People will argue, Christians will argue about whether or not Adam had a navel. I think it's ridiculous, and I think you're focusing on the wrong thing. However, I do think that it should be pointed out that it makes sense that the universe and the earth was created mature, as Adam was. Verse 14, and God said, let there be lights in the expanse of the heavens to separate the day from the night, and let them be for signs and for seasons, and for days and for years, and let them be lights in the expanse of heaven to give light upon the earth. And it was so. So we had already had let there be light in the first day, the first couple of verses. Now he's creating the light bearers. So of those light bearers, we have the two great ones. One makes light and one reflects it. And of those he says, and God made the two lights, the greater light to rule the day and the lesser light to rule the night, and the stars. Oh yeah, he made the stars too. Billions of them. Kind of funny for me to think about, but I think it shows the care he put into making our solar system, our Earth, our galaxy. We're in the best spot in our galaxy to see anything else. If we were in any of the different arms of our spiral galaxy, we would be just caught up in a mush of stars and things in our way, and we wouldn't be able to see past them. We're in a perfect spot. We bounce in and out of the plane of the Milky Way, and we are in the perfect spot in our galaxy to see the rest of the universe. And there's no reason for that aside from the fact that the universe declares his majesty. So, oh yeah, and he created the stars. And God set them in the expanse of the heavens to give light on the earth, to rule over the day and over the night, and to separate the light from the darkness. And God saw that it was good. And there was evening and there was morning, the fourth day. 20, and God said, let the waters swarm of living creatures, and let birds fly above the earth across the expanse of the heavens. So that's why I think that's the expanse that we were talking about with the word firmament. The Hebrew word is actually to beat out or to spread out, and that's what they translate into the expanse. So God created sea creatures and every living creature that moves, with which the waters swarm, according to their kinds, and every winged bird according to its kind. And God saw that it was good. And God blessed them, saying, be fruitful and multiply, fill the waters in the seas, and let the birds multiply on the earth. And there was evening and there was morning, the fifth day. I just realized I was saying that the creatures were made on the fourth day. Man, I'm glad I'm doing this Bible study. So, anyway, it still stands. If he creates the vegetation, the trees and all that on the third day, which are dependent on these pollinators that he just made on the fifth day, not the fourth, then, they certainly would not have made it if it was such a long time between these days of creation. According to their kinds, I want to stop there. So that could be their biological family. Okay, the fifth division of the system of scientific classification, the family. It doesn't say that God created on this day and made Adam sit down and name beagles and dachshunds and huskies. He made dogs. 24. And God said, let the earth bring forth living creatures according to their kinds, livestock and creeping things, and beasts of the earth according to their kinds. And it was so. And God made the beasts of the earth according to their kinds, and the livestock according to their kinds, and every creeping thing on the ground according to their kinds. And God saw that it was good. And we're going to stop right there. Thanks for watching. Love you guys. Have a good week.